este video pues vamos a empezar a ver lo que tengo en la pantalla, que en este caso pues el soporte más o menos introductorio de SQLite Support. Y recuerden de que pues es la bienvenida que le estoy dando en español. Pues vamos a seguir intentando a ver hasta dónde nos lleva a terminar hablando en inglés, pues más que mayormente pues he estado haciendo los videos en inglés, así que voy a intentar terminar hasta ver hasta dónde puedo más o menos llegar. Así que vamos a hablar de SQLite un poquito y también de Aggregate, pues más o menos vamos a revisar eso, de layouts, que es muy interesante en este ambiente de Prisma PHP. Pathname, que esto para cuestiones de navegación te sale de maravilla también, y vamos a ver más o menos cómo implementar un cuestión de temas, vamos a ver ese asunto también. Así que bueno, pues bienvenido para las personas que se van ubicando. Así que pues welcome to y'all. So in this video I'm gonna walk you through about SQLite support. This is just the introductory, so remember this is just going to be a create your CRUD app, and then with it's going to be in testing mode, all those stuff them. So this is the first look in SQLite. So afterward we're going to see the first look in Aggregate method too. We're going to look the layout .php and its functionalities. The pathname is very important. This make easier the navigation, which you can get from the URL. So I'm going to try to walk you through. So I will try my best speaking in English. And so let's begin. For a start, well, I'm going to go to the documentation. So PHP, and then in this case documentation, an important database, and this time SQLite, which is just have been released. Okay, for now, first you could have your reading all those stuff, and here is the important. You have to change the provider to SQLite, and afterward your .env you have to set this this line of code. So what I want to do is copy this, and I'm going to create the project and everything. So for start, what I want to do is locate to the documentation, and I'm going to come. Now I have already opened my VS Code, so I'm going to install a new package in the list of the Create Prisma PHP app, which I'm listing all the videos that I'm making. So this resource is going to be uploaded to the GitHub. If you wish, you could review all the code which is going to be inside. You could give a review. Okay, anyway, so I'm going to install npx So I'm going to call SQLite support because it is all about SQLite support. So then I'm going to use typing, yes. WebSocket, no. So while installing, this package is growing currently. So as you can see, is in beta version. So be aware of, because you can test and have, and such thing is stable already, so you can be in secure section which is stable, and which is not stable yet, be aware of, because while the package goes growing, it's going to become more stable with the time. So mainly currently we're going to start seeing all those stuff what is coming, introducing the new and the stable versions too. Okay, well, here we have, clear my screen. SQLite support. Okay, I'm going to open in a new instance and close this one. Open here. Let me zoom out a little. Okay, now, so the first thing what I have to look is change my provider. So I'm going to come and then Prisma schema, and then from Postgres I'm going to say SQLite. But even I have IntelliSense here. Save it. As you can see, I have already this place which is come from with the package from Prisma PHP, and then in my env I'm going to copy this line of code. Okay, now what I'm going to do is explain. So what about the file going to be created? As you can see, this has dot and slash. That means to say we inside the Prisma directory. So inside the Prisma directory, I want to create a database which is going to be db, and then the dev.db. So that means to say if I want go out from the Prisma directory, I have to put another dot, and this is going to create outside from the Prisma directory. But how I want have the folder organized, I go and set to one dot and just the slash and then db and the dev and this and that. So afterward I'm going to save it, and then I'm going to open my terminal and then press start migrating the database which I have in the schema file. So Prisma migrate dev. So the good part of this is Prisma is going to start creating all files needed for the SQL. So I'm just going to declare the file where it's going to be created, and then Prisma going to have all the control needed. And here, as you can see, is already created. So it's asking me if I want to put a name to the migration, and I said no. And here I have already created the database SQL DB open. Yes, and as you can see, this is all what is needed. No, all right. Afterward, creating my database, what I'm going to do is composer install. Okay, now here clean, and then what I want to do is create now all my PHP classes which is going to be connect with the database. So for now I'm just going to close Prisma npx php class. Okay, everything done good. Now what I want to do is try to launch the project. So is npm dev. Yes, it's running. Okay, here we have it. Okay, now what I want to do is I'm going to create a row which is going to be users, and then I'm going to try to create a CRUD, easy and just a basic CRUD. Remember, all features not is supported. You have to be how this is the first introduction to SQLite, so is not supported all the future which is connect or things like that, include this and that. So you have to test, and then I just want you to be aware of this is just introductory to the SQLite. So I'm going to put okay, good. Okay, I'm going to come now Prisma src app. So I'm going to create a directory name users. Okay. Okay, that's all I want to put. Let me close the terminal. Okay, I have it. So what I'm going to do is now use lib and start using Prisma and get a Prisma instance, and well, I'm going to create users and then Prisma find many. Here you have it, and yeah, find many. So we are going to be echo yes, yes. Well, Copilot helping me. So problem already. Here we have reader. Find many is like reading all the users from the users tables in our SQL database. Okay, we don't have any. So what I'm going to do is create one. Easy as this. Prisma user. Yeah, okay, no problem. John Doe. Yes, I'm going to do is I'm going to add something here. I'm going to add age. Okay, so you can set this just for a while because I'm going to test Aggregate, which is very important to introduce you to Aggregate too. So this is going to be npx Prisma DB. Okay, ready? PM on def. Okay, I have to generate the class 2. Okay, now F. Okay, so here going to be age just 30 and close. So okay, data key. Okay, there is. So we have already created our first user using SQLite. So what we're going to do is now create 3 more users with different names and with different emails. So as you can see, I create the user but the email is incorrect. So I'm going to do is I'm going to update the user. So it's going to be Prisma user update. Okay, for the user you have to find the unique first. So the ID always going to be unique, but what I'm going to do is copy this email or copy the ID. So I'm going to copy the ID and then I'm going to put there, and what I'm going to modify is the email. Then it's going to be John. Okay, so what I'm going to do is comment this just for now. Okay, we have already updated in SQLite, so we have 2. So what I'm going to do is come here, comment this, and well, try to delete the user, which is currently to be Prisma user. Delete. Okay, Well, Copilot is already advancing and giving me recommendation, delete, where I did, alright. So we have already created our CRUD in SQLite. So let's say I have, now we're going to say SQL introductory to CRUD creation we have already covered. So SQLite support, yes, is already, but remember, not all the future. So we have to be aware of. So when you test the SQL and the feature is not working, well, you could get a git commit issue and the comment, and we could review it. So remember, be aware of. So what I'm going to do is try to work with Aggregate now. So let's go on with Aggregates. For that, I'm going to create a sample.com. So I'm going to create a 3 or 4 users. So hello, and then this is going to be create another one, which is okay. So let me run the edge again. Okay, I'm going to update Ronaldo's age. It's going to be, let's say, 22. Okay, so now I have these 3 users, so I'm going to test these 3 users using the aggregate function. So for aggregate function, it's going to be same as users, so going to be aggregate. So here I'm going to pass okay, now for get the age, average of the age, going to be from the edge through, and then okay, save, and here we have it. Aggregate function is introduction is already getting, but remember is the introductory part because it's not support everything, so be aware of too, because this is just the main testing, you know. So all right, then we got count the edge, we have 3, yes, 3 edge, and get the max, okay, get the mean, okay, get the sum or the total of all we have there. Okay, it's working very good, but what about if I want the sum and then the average, but nothing is going to happen? So remember, this not supported yet. Okay, next thing, what about if I want to get where maybe if would I be different, like say example.com, it will be the Gmail, this and that. The where function is not supported yet too. So what you're going to do is just go to Aggregate, and you have the code, and you can play with the code, and here are the code for the Aggregate. But remember, I'm working on it, so this is just the introductory. That's why in the documentation, as you can see in Prisma class usage, Aggregate is still in review stage. That means to say you can use it with this video, because Aggregate currently, even in documentation, it got weird things, what is not the main name, and even if you come to changelog, is nothing about Aggregate, because currently I'm working on it. Okay, so we already covered the Aggregate method, because it's a class method. So Aggregate is already remember, is not supported some of the features. That's so there we have it. Now what we're going to do is talk about layouts. These layouts is very important that you be aware of. Layouts is like, say you have the main layout, and then you have the child layout, but the tree is coming from top to bottom, or from bottom to top. So let's talk about using some diagrams here. Okay, so the main layout is, which is in Prisma, where you're going to locate the main layout. Let me close this. Okay, this is the main layout in Prisma PHP. So the main layout was updated to have handle all those. As you can see, the main layout handle all the entrance what is coming. So this is the main layout, and the child layouts will be the one which you're going to be creating your routes, like say group routes or single routes, depending. Remember, the Prisma PHP is file-based system, so remember, when you create a directory, the directory name is a route for Prisma PHP. So this is the main layout, and then if you have a group directory and say I'm going to create a specific layout inside my group layout, and that going to be applied in all pages, which is going to be in this group, page 1, page 2. So I'm going to have this layout. So remember, the main layout, it's going to be always the topmost layout, it's going to be, and then this child layout, it's going to have in top or inside the main layout, and then all pages, which here it's going to have two layouts, which is the main layouts and then the child layouts. That means to say the code sharing between the main layouts and the child layouts, which going to be each show in these two pages. Okay, so this is the main way, and this the child 2, the same, the child 3, the same going to be, because this could be a group. Oops. This could be a group, or just a single users, which is going to be correct too. So inside user, you have a layout which is going to contain the index or the other sub routes which is in that group or specific routes. Okay, to address that, let's come, and then what I'm going to do is create a component which is going to have a navigation. For that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to SQLite. I have already accepted to install Tailwind CSS, so I'm going to come and say I want to install. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, this is very easy. Install, then I'm going to copy this, go to Tailwind config, paste, save. Okay, npm run dev, and let's wait. And as you can see, the SQLite is already installed, and so we can use it now. Alright, what I'm going to do is create a navigation to show all the layouts functionality, and we're going to see in this real world scenario. So okay, so what I'm going to do is come and create a private directory, which I'm going to call components, and inside I'm going to have a navbar, and inside the navbar what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the SQLite and then go to components. This is just for example, you can't use any package for Tailwind CSS, so I'm going to come navbar, and which I'm going to choose is this because it's got some navigations. So copy this, I'm going to come, paste, format the code. Okay, as you can see currently it is nothing happened, but what I'm going to do is come in index, and then so from the header and the navigation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the header and the navigation, because I'm going to use the nav bar component. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here. After this, I can include some PHP required, okay, looks correct to me. Let's see. Okay, good. Okay, I'm going to come to navbar, and this is flex, but I want when it's a medium size. Okay, now I have it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to update this, because this is the users. Let's say this is the route for the users. So I'm going to say users, okay, and href, which is users too. So when I click, I go to users, easy as that. Okay, now I want, when I click here, let's say I'm coming to the home or things like that. So let me see, where is that? Lazy word. Okay, there we have it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another a group row, which is going to have another users or things like that. So first one, when I click to the users, you saw the behavior, the navigation stay in line in all of the pages. It's going to be because the main layout, the parent layout, it have this component inside. That means to say all pages is going to include only not found is going to be excluded. In this case, let's say I'm searching for users, I don't know. In this case, it's not going to be included. So, but if I come and remove this code, well, surely. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is create another row, which I'm going to call it, it's a group row, so public. And inside public, what I'm going to do is create another row. It's going to be customers. So in customers, I'm going to have a table. So I'm going to come and search for a table. Okay, I have any one of the table. Let's say this huge, but could be useful. Okay, I'm going to pass this table, and then I'm going to come to the navbar, and now in the parent, what I'm going to do is like say this is going to be my public group row. So now in here, what I'm going to do is customers, and in the row href / customers, save. So I have my public row, and then when I put down the drop down, when I click to the drop down, so I have customers, and when I click customers, as you can see, the navbar maintains when I go if a group rows or any other rows. So, or if I go, what about, let me see, okay. Okay, now what I'm going to do is create another row to have a submenu here too. So what I'm going to do is come inside public, and then I'm going to create another one, which I'm going to create say adds any row you wish in the .php. Okay, so maybe let's say this is going to be a timeline. You could put any button. This one looking good. Copy this. Okay, I'm going to go to my navbar component, and then say this is going to be the ads, and href it's going to be ads. Easy as that. I already have my navigation. So I have customers, I have ads, I have users, and I have my home, users, so on, so on, so on. Okay, now as you can see, I have only one layout, which is the main layout. Now let's talk about the child layout. Inside the public, I'm going to create a layout. So inside public, what I'm going to do is come and say new layout.php. Okay, so in here I'm going to put another navigation bar to this thing. So let's see, navbar, blue one. Okay, as you can see, I put the navigation, and if I go to ads, I see in the navigation bar, but inside the public row. But if I go to users, how it's independent row, not from part of the public row, so it's not have the layout included. So what I have to do now I have to get the child inside. So what I'm going to do is create a section which is going to include my child row. So it's a variable which is going to be child content, and that's all what you need to display your child content content inside your layout. So now what you're going to do is, what about if I want, now if you go to customers or ads, the navigation maintains, and I could see the child component, and what I'm going to do is come to customers, and what about if I want to style this section, which I want to put let's say a background BG, I don't know, blue, light blue 500, okay, not so blue, then okay, there we have it. So now I have my section which have a background, and this is the huge advantage when you are sharing your code. So when I come to ads, I have my background applied and it's already. So what about if I want center the component, let's say I don't know, there is many technique, grid, place, items, center, and let's see if it works there. Okay, what about the width? Screen, height, screen, there it is. Okay, so let me see if I go to customers, I have this, but remember this is a huge advantage when you are sharing your layout. So this layout is mainly for all row what is inside the public row, but remember public is a group rows. Okay, what about a single row? So let's say users have an ID or things like that, so I could have information of it, so I could come and let's say the ID, which is going to be the profile containing, so something is like that, or index.php. Okay, here you're going to say let me come and let me see what about can get. Okay, let's get the component. I'm going to put in, let's put a card here. Okay, a card. Okay, let's say this is the user information inside. So here what I want to do is I want to go to the user row, and then let's say I in the ID and I have my card inside the users. So what about if I have a layout inside my users? So let's say I'm going to create a layout.php, so which is going to have I don't know, any kind. So let's go to nav and get a navbar, which is going to be this black one, which is to distinct the user. Okay, so let me pass. Okay, I have my black nav, but I don't have my content. So what I'm going to do is create a section which is going to have where Copilot is already known about, and I have my card inside. Voila, easy as that. So if I go to users, I have my users information, but as you can see the daisy UI, the navigation stay. So here is a huge advantage of the layout, which coming and giving you more code sharing and reducing complexity in this case. Okay, so I think we have covered the layout PHP, which is very useful technique. Okay, now let's talk about the pathname variable. Pathname variable is the URL. To be sincere, is the domain which when you press users, the pathname is going to be the just /users. So if I go to /id, the pathname is going to be the just users, then / and then the id. That's the idea. So the pathname is going to be to give you the URI of your domain, of your, in this case localhost, but it's going to be your domain because you're going to deploy the project. So pathname makes easy when you are navigating. What about if I want to, my component, in this case my component and my navbar have a class and it's going to have a background, let's say blue, something else, 500. Okay, but when my route is users, not customers, as you can see I could go to customers and users still have that background. What about if I come, I say, okay, I want to apply this class when, here we're going to do pathname when it's equal to /users, easy as that. And then I say question, and then if it is, well, apply the BG blue 500, else empty. Okay, save it and goes away because right now I in the ads route. So what I'm going to do, press users and it's come over. Easy as that. Your navigation is made easy because pathnames holds the URI. In this case, pathname is the same as users /users, so it's the same. So what I'm going to do is now, let's say customers, what I'm going to do, customers, let's apply to customers now the same idea. So I'm going to come and copy this and same to ads. So what I'm going to change here, just going to say customers and user, and instead of users I'm going to put ads. And easy as that, now I have my navigation with background, but automatically when I have clicked the user, and then when I go to customers and check this, useful. Pathname makes navigation easy. That's why use pathname when you want to identify the route, like navigation does. So remember that section. Okay, now what we're going to do is let's get into a topic which I touched in previous video but never was solved, and that was because I never did notice the class. What I want to do, close all and come JavaScript now. Let's talk a little about JavaScript. Okay, so here in this case, what we're going to talk about the state manager. So the state manager is going to be, which is going to hold this current state which you're going to provide. So remember, in this case, what you're going to do is set the state and then get the state. So for this, when I was making the video in previous videos, so this was never set with the save to storage to true. This parameters was off, and I never did notice. This was a huge problem when I was making the stream and try to test, and I never noticed this was haven't set. Okay, but now those. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to add support to my navigation team support. So what I'm going to do, come and then now team controller, this one looks good, copy it, and then in my navigation component, what I'm going to do is replace this button with this. Okay, as you can see, I already have my theme, but it's not doing anything. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a script which is going to hold the value of the click, and then it's going to change the theme. For that, we have to go to for the themes. So I'm going to search themes, and then here you have how you can declare the themes. So I'm going to copy this, and this is going to go direct to Tailwind config, paste, and I want support just for dark and light. Add that. So I think that's all. Okay, let me close. And now what I'm going to do is, for sake of time, just pass the small script and then explain it, because this JavaScript is very basic, not complex and anything. So what I'm going to do in my input, I'm going to just put an identifier which is going to call theme name, and that's all. Okay. Okay, so what theme name going to do is, when I click to the button, it's going to change the theme. But the good part with the Prisma PHP package, you have already implemented, how I mentioned before, the store class, which is going to let you store to the local storage. Let me clean up. To the local storage, the information when you click to the button. So as you can see here, I say this is just for the documentation loading. You can remove that if you wish, no problem. So what I'm going to do is get the theme name, but remember I'm getting by the document get element by ID, and then when I get the document the theme name by ID, so I'm going to add a event listener in this case, and the change to the input. So I'm going to ask if the check which is dark or light, because it have the control to that. Or sorry, this have to change here. Okay, now if the value is dark, well, it's going to be dark. So you're going to set to the document, in this case to the parent HTML here, it's going to set a data theme with the theme name. In this case, it's going to be light or dark. So easy as that, you have already implement your button or your theme support. So let me click and let's see what happens. Okay, it happens to be working. So there you have it. Now let's go to the app state as you can see, the theme name is dark currently. So what I'm going to do is click here, and right away we got the light. And this, the good part of this, if I refresh, no problem. That is the good part. So now what about if I go to users? It's maintain, customers, ads, customers, chains, users. So the part we applying theme in this case, as you can see, this maintains here. But what about when I just come and load the page and I don't know if my app state is set? So for that support, what you're going to do is go to your main layout and set a script which is going to, as you can see here, if I don't click, this is not set to the data theme light or to the dark, because as you can see when I refresh, it's not loading anymore. So for that, what I'm going to do is same, just copy and paste and just explain, because it's a basic, very basic JavaScript. So let's say here, so documents load, then you want to ask to the store for the state, and which is going to be the theme name, and where is coming that theme name here. So remember, here is the same thing, because this is going to change the button to that to have checked the theme name. So before, when you are saving or setting your state, it's going to be the theme name. Here it is, theme name. So the theme name is an object, as you can see, is an object which is holding the check as the value. So which we're going to do is, the theme name is going to be the name, and the value is going to be the value of the input. In this case, the input which we are getting the information from. So easy as that, we are already saving the dark, or if we are going to, okay, so now for this, as you can see, in HTML length is not set yet, so I'm going to save this, and now have set correctly my data theme in dark mode. Or if I change, here we have the light mode, and if I reload, the data theme maintains. This means to say, same as like the other, if I go to customers, I have my dark theme, or the theme which I choose light or dark is going to be maintained and applied. So that is the good part in this case. So easy as that, I have already implemented with 2 lines of JavaScript code with help of the store manager. Have everything done in a little while. I have not much code there. Okay, so well, this is the important part of the system. So if you go currently in the documentation, which I am going to explain some, well, you're going to find just the SQLite support. It's important, well, just review, because remember it's beta how name, so it's important you to be aware of. Okay, secondly, currently the layout and the pathname is on develop mode, because I'm setting up all the files, what it's going to do and how it's going to be organized and things like that, and maybe I'm taking some photo reference from other side and setting up or things like that. Anyway, the idea is translate the information behind the functionality of the variable of the functionality of the layout file, or all the information as I can provide you to get all of it, the most of it, this package. So for me, it was a pleasure to share with you these features, and is a welcome features, because having this feature by your part, it's going to get you your develop let's say you can develop easy as that. As you can see, in 1 hour we cover a lot of things. Okay, so well, if any question is there, so you can ask, or if you have issue and you want to use the package, so be aware of the package of the beta version, which is going to be with the time going to be more stable, because currently it's going in that road. So the main goal here is to reach to a stable version, and then you can use it with more confidence, this package. As you can see, he have huge power, but potentials always come with some consuming and workaround times. So where I'm going to see how, when, or I think today it's going to be updated, the documentation, so you can review the documentation. Okay, so happy coding, and see you in next video. Ready?